Okay, so and also you guys have a okay, wait. So how the Saint you guys did Saint John. You guys that was like was that your first tour?
We did 2 tours with
We did,
him.
we did a couple tours with him. We went on tour with Justine Sky, and that was for
Oh, that's lit.
music.
Yeah.
The tour with him happened because we were all at South by Southwest. No. We had a show in New York. He
During
performed
Fashion Week.
during Fashion Week. He performed, then we DJ'd after him, and he was just about to go to South by Southwest to do a bunch of like showcases. We were
We
going to be there
posted.
too.
We posted like we're gonna be at South by Southwest doing these shows.
Yeah.
These are the dates.
So he asked like, do you want to like DJ
Mine.
my shows too? So that's how we started. We like really didn't even know each other, but then we ended up doing like 3 or 4 tours together.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I think wait, also you guys also just met Pharrell. That's pretty dope. At Art Basel, right?
Yeah.
We
How'd that come around?
We DJ'd for BBC Billionaire Boys Club.
And we did a collab at the New York store with the juice, with some of the juice in the store. So we kind of been like doing like I don't know, the relationships like getting built with that brand.
Okay, what's a moment that you were like, oh, like I can't believe? Because I think like writing. Well, writing was kind of weird because like I came into it thinking that it would be like, oh, like you can't look at Tracy Ellis Ross like in the face, like you have to. I thought writing, it's like Tracy, Lawrence Fishburne, Anthony Anderson. Like I thought it would kind of like the actors like up here and like the writers like down, way off the screen.
Is it more like
Yeah,
everyone?
it was like if anything, it was more like that, and if anything, it was almost like reversed, where like they kind of saw us because you have to think about it, like I'm like okay, like they don't really understand how collaborative it is, so they might think like oh this one writer can like is gonna give me a dope line or a dope storyline or dope like if I'm cool with this writer,
he's gonna give me a look.
Yeah, it's like kind of the writers give it and the writers take it away, right? Like we're gonna give you a really good like a really good
I
storyline.
would definitely do that if I were an actor. I'd be like, okay, I need to work this angle because I want my story to go.
Yeah, it's like dog, like we're literally like one, the writers room was like 15 people. Like, I'm one voice. But yeah, it was funny. Like it was very cool. Like it was very I feel like within like a couple months at Blackish, like all the actors followed me on Instagram. Like it was very, I think the only person who didn't follow me was like Tracy. But Tracy's like her mom is Diana Ross, Oh, and Lawrence Fishburne, obviously. I doubt he even has an Instagram. But it was very like, oh wow, like this is really, I remember the first time like Tracy, because the actors came, like we started production in the middle of June.
Mhm.
The actors came in maybe like a month, however many month or maybe like a month and a half later. And like the first time, like I think they had come early for like fitting and stuff like that. And like Tracy Ellis Ross like walking into the writers' room, and it was just like so like it's like, oh, we're just coworkers. Like you're not Tracy Ellis Ross, I'm not me. We're just like you're just like a person I work with.
Work.
But, like yeah, was there a moment that you're like, oh wow, like I'm really I belong here, or like this is really wow, like I really made it almost.
That's a good question.
Let me think.
You know what it is? I think the more you become desensitized to like, this is that person, this is like the environment, like certain things become more normal to
Right.
you. Like regular, I think that's when you're like, I guess this is what I do now. Like,
Yeah.
my
That's
job
very
now
true.
is part of the territory. Like,
That's so true. I remember like my first, like I felt like I had to take a picture with Drake every time I hung out with Drake. Like the first thing, and I was like, okay, I can't like this happens like pretty frequently. Like I can't like this is weird. It'd be weird. And even like like that evening when I was like it was good that it happened when I was like had been in LA long enough when I was at LA Retail. So like I wasn't like oh crap like Kanye and I was like oh hey what's like Kim. I'm like oh hey what's up Dom, like how's how's your how's your evening. Like what's I can't remember what me and Ye talked about, but it was just very like oh like what yeah like a normal conversation. Okay, so this is the fun part, dating. You guys talked about because going back to the whole clothing thing, like you guys have your own style, and you guys talk about like guys kind of feeling like whoa like basically like I'm attracted to you because of your style, but now that I'm with you, don't like delete that. Like that picture.
I feel like there is a community of people with that thought process. I feel like that's not for me. Like if you know me, if when we meet I'm this way, and I think that's for whoever I'm dating too. Like if how I meet you is this way, I'm just going to assume that's how you are. I'm not trying to change that about you, or else I wouldn't really be into you. So you can't try to like.
But has that happened? Where like, I mean, 'cause I remember when we talked in San Francisco, it felt like that was a thing that had happened.
It is a thing. It definitely is a thing.
I think it's a thing. I think I used to come up on that energy more. But now I'm like,
I think I see.
You think I'm not gonna change? Like I was this. I've been being myself this whole time. I was like, and now, like all of a sudden, you're on a new chapter. Like
you're gonna wear that.
Well, has a guy straight up said like, I don't want you to wear that outfit, or like delete that post?
No, but what it is, it's like quietly, it'll be like, oh, like if we ever end up dating, like I wouldn't want you to post that. Like you wouldn't post that anymore. And I'd be like, but I would post it. I was like, but I would post it. Like even if we were together, I would post that. And they'd be like, no, you would like if we were together, I'd be like, yes, I would post it today. If we were together, if we got married.
That's so crazy. The thing is, I'm not even politicking
whatever I want
about posts. Like I feel like at the point where you're trying to politic about like what is being posted,
we've already lost. I'm like, I don't care what you post.
Like what ground are we in? Like I don't like it.
So long as you
that's true. It's your page. It's your page, not this.
Like what are we talking about?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like to consider myself very evolved to where I think that like I said, even in college, I felt like being kind of not controlling, but like being reactive to certain things just makes those things into a bigger issue.
I agree.
Because then it's like, okay, she was gonna walk in this. Oh, she looked great. Like she looked great. Actually, now that I think about it, like the pictures came out, I was like, oh wow, this. There's a reason that Megan Fox was on the cover of the Rolling Stone in this outfit. This is like a really hot bodysuit. What was I tripping about? But I think that like being reactive. But I don't know. I don't think I've been put in that position. I'd like to think that I'd be like, okay, well, this is what I was attracted to in the first place. Like, why would I try to change it now? Do you guys date like mostly in the industry or outside? You know, like what's your? Because obviously, like if you're in the industry, you're gonna meet people in the industry.
Angel, I really haven't. Like, I don't think I ever really have.
Wow, if I had a lie detector, it would be going off right now.
I'm just thinking out loud.
No, you're actually not. It's actually really quiet.
Yeah, it feels like she's trying to push me on the spot. Like she's like, I feel like this.
I was just thinking through like dates and just trying to make sure everything's on the up.
Okay, well,
like I'm low key about my stuff. Like
that's true.
Because I feel like I'm not the type of person that's like announcement, like cuffing season in progress. Like I don't need like I feel like you know.
Oh my goodness, I have a friend who finally I don't like to say finally let me on her close friends because I was never asking. But I mean, I obviously secretly. I mean, I want everyone to put me on their close friends. I'd love to, hey, like not everyone, but
people's close friends is funny. Like all of a sudden, I'll be on someone's. I'm like,
how did I get included? But
I know. There's certain people. I'm like, wow, like me, like we just met.
Me, I appreciate it. It's a compliment, kind of.
Well, it is, but I'm actually a little bit disappointed. This sounds bad, but like, so me and my friends all made Finstas in like maybe 2016, and the Finstas, they were all women, like pretty much, and like the Finstas were very raw, right? And it's like I thought close friends would be like that, where it's like I want to show me depression, show me, show me an abortion. I don't want someone to go through that. Obviously, that's a very tragic. I don't want you to go through that. But if you do go through that, post it on your close friends.
That's what
you think people would post it on close friends?
So I actually did finally have a friend who this person who let me in to her close friend. She did post one on her close friends. That was the first time I was like, oh wow, it happened. I mean, she like posted after she posted she posted the ultrasound pic and was kind of like,
oh wow,
it was like a throwback or something. But
I'm surprised I would never even close friends it.
They've been very like. I think I always thought that women's close friends would be more exciting than they are. Like it's just like food. I'm like, wait, like who can't know that you're eating fish?
If you're vegan,
right? I always thought that close friends was about naming names. Like I thought that's why. Like when you really were ready to get messy, I thought that's.
I just went on a date with this person. and it was horrible. And like,
Okay, so
It was like I worked with these people and
fuck them all.
like literally.
I hate this.
well, this I brought it up because she did post on her close friends that she's like talking about like basically the countdown to her boyfriend reveal. She's like, yo, I'm gonna do my boyfriend reveal. Like, you know, like this is yeah.
I love it.
I
Yeah,
love
she's
the suspense. I love the rollout.
Yeah, she's doing a slow rollout of her boyfriend on the close friends,
Cool.
which I think it's great. And then she's the only friend who I've really had who had kind of an exciting one because she posted there was a time when and like I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but there's a time when this Miami, I think it was a New York person, who's like trans but not, you know, a trans woman, went down to Miami and was like sleeping around with a lot of kind of men in Miami and then was exposing them. And so she kind of had some close friends around that, kind of being like, oh, like this person or that person, naming, you know, what. But look, we're not getting into that. But she had a little bit, like they've been very boring. I haven't really seen like a.
You have?
I don't even have close
I
friends.
don't have one. I have a fence that I don't even use anymore. I like to think that like I'm cringe on main. Like I'm just sort of not cringe, but I'm just like I'm open on main. Like I'm not gonna. Like I like to think that I'm not an open book. I'm not an open book, but.
You're not an open book.
I'm definitely not, but I think I'm definitely not. But I think like the things that someone like, there are things where I like that might go on a close friends. Like you said that I've been having girlfriend fever. Like I post on main like if you're over 30, if you're 30 plus and not married, basically it should be illegal to be 30 plus and not married. Like if you're 30 plus and not married, you're a failure. And you know it's and so it's funny. Someone replied to that and was like, "Oh, like how old are you?" Because they thought that was like maybe like 25 or something. I'm like, no, I'm like 31. Like I'm speaking about my. I was like, I'm speaking about myself. Like I'm subtweeting me.
Like somebody come get
But are
me.
people responding like, "Hey, like, come pick me up. Like, let's date. Like, let's get serious"?
Not really. I think maybe like I don't know. I think that okay. So we talked about like those people who had the apartment in Harlem. That was like the spot, and I feel like I have beef because I feel like men all had like a secret meeting and said, "Hey, we're gonna start being in relationships now," but then like nobody told me, and I feel like people are just kind of really getting into like you hit that 28 to 32 range, and people start kind of really like I think in the South and the Midwest, like people will get married. Like you throw a rock and it hits somebody, you marry them at
Can
like
I tell
18.
you what happens? It wasn't that. You moved to LA.
But even in LA, like people. I mean, yeah.
Who got married in LA? Who?
Okay. Okay. One person, although he lives in New York.
One person you can name?
There's not that many New York weddings either. I feel like in the major cities.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like energy and I'm attracting it. Where like I feel like I'm seeing, like more just matching pajamas families. Like I'll probably bleep the name, but like one of the people who lived in that apartment, Sharif, like he has like 2 beautiful daughters and like he's posting them all the time. I'm like, God, that looks way more fun than like being in the club. I think what it is that like
It looks fun.
I think that the like from 20 to 25, the things that guys are trying to show off is like lifestyle wise, like yo, I'm at the club, bottles and models. I'm the man of the party. I got all the hoes, and that's what men are like guys glorify. And then like if it feels like a switch flips around sometime between 28 and 32, really like maybe like 20, like 30-ish, I guess 30.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like those same people now it's like engagement, vacation, like what they're promoting and what they're
vacation.
Yeah, it's vacation. It's like if like it feels like when you're kind of 30 plus and single, and if you're a guy who's like and you're a guy and like if you're still kind of on that time of like where the hoes at, it's like go home, bro. Like it feels like you're that person.
You're going to this place, you're gonna go alone, or like boys trips. Like people are busy. People have jobs. Like
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that everyone. I feel like what became cool, like I think having hoes stopped being cool, but it stopped very suddenly. I feel like it stopped very, very, like it feels like there was a meeting, and like I don't even think it's cool. Like, but it feels like there was a meeting that people had somewhere where they're like, you know what, like, bro, like having like being at the club and like having about a different woman all the time, and that's like whack. Like, let's all get in a relationship. And so now I want to be in one.
So how are you find this person? Like,
are you going on dates? Like, are you doing the things?
I mean, the thing is, I can't tell if I really want to be in one or if I just think that I want to be in one.
See,
I think I have to get to a certain. I took the podcast off the ground. The podcast is gonna
Why?
blow up. I think that like stability, writing is dope, but writing is very like, shows are seasonal, shows come and go.
Okay.
You're a creative. I think I need a certain level of stability, and then I think the idea there's the idea of like building together. And like, I guess I am pretty established in my career, but like there's the idea of like building together, and I think that's kind of like a scam, right? Like the idea of like someone you come up with. First of all, a lot of times if you kind of help a guy build, when they get where they want to go, they'll be like, all right, peace, thank you, that was nice. You are a girl who dated a nigga who was down there. I need to find a girl at this level now.
Now where I'm at, that's crazy, which
That's
is really
ruthless.
crazy.
That's ruthless.
And do you feel
I
like
think
is
so.
that what you're saying? Do you feel like you would do that?
No, I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would do that. But I'm saying like I think that when a guy isn't where they want to be, they're just not really happy, and so it's like it's hard to be in a relationship if you're not happy.
Fundamentally, yes, I think that's true.
That's
And I've always been like I'm not a big birthday person because one of the reasons is like I'm always like thinking about like what's next, right? Like what? I mean, maybe that's not an unhealthy way to live, but it's like I'm always like, what are the things that I haven't accomplished
Will
yet?
always be something like. Will there always be like something you're like, I'm getting this off the ground now, and now I'm doing this. Like
Once I get you're right. It's kind of like the treadmill that people get on when they're like, oh, like I'm gonna work at McKinsey until and then I'm gonna go become a DJ. It's like, well, now I'm 2 years deep into McKinsey.
literally, people are like, yeah, I'm just gonna really
Write
write it out for 2 years.
I'm up for promotion.
Yeah, and then you're right. So people get the golden handcuffs. So maybe I have the single handcuffs where it's like, oh, I need to get to this thing. But I also think
break free. Okay.
yeah, but I also think that I believe like I've only been in 2 relationships, one in college and one in the pandemic. So it's really 0 because college relationships don't count and pandemic relationships don't really count. But
you might have
not really.
done better over the pandemic than like normally.
Yeah, maybe. But I think that I think both of them happened when I wasn't looking. I mean, I've never been looking, right? So like I think you just meet somebody and then like it just kind of happens naturally. So like, all this pontification is sort of like a little bit of just an intellectual exercise because I do think that you can be intentional about it, but it's kind of I'm sure like your relationships were you like looking for one and did someone just you meet someone and it just kind of there was a spark there was a connection.
Yeah,
and,
the latter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
yeah,
but I will say that I'm open to it. If anyone's listening right now, just and wants to fall in love and have matching pajamas.
This could be you next holiday.
I thought that was gonna be me last holiday. I thought I wanted that to be me this holidays.
Not Christmas yet.
I'm running out of time, and by the time this episode comes out, it will be. But it's fine. I mean, so you guys are both single too. Oh wow, that was. That's okay. That's good. Yeah, I like that. You guys keep it low.
I go on dates.
Okay, what's like an ideal date these days? Like dinner, drinks. New York is thriving.
Dinner and drinks is always vibes.
Dinner and drinks is like I feel like the norm.
It's the norm.
Right.
It's hard to like if it's someone who has like a very different schedule every week, like it's hard to get like that going a lot. Like if I'm here, then you're there. Like I don't know how much realistically we could go dinner and drinks. So it's nice when other people like travel for work too sometimes. Because then
I don't like some people do movies. I'm like the movie's like a terrible first date because you can't talk. Like you don't like you just sit down and you stare.
The worst.
Yeah, that's like a
out and I'm still just like, who is this next to me? Like who is that person?
Yeah, who are they?
Then dinner, but then it's like I want to go to dinner.
Yeah, well, what if they laughed at all the wrong jokes? Or they didn't laugh at any of the right jokes.
Right.
Like, yeah,
I'm just like mentally like questioning everything.
Right. I went to a comedy show once with somebody, and they thought it was so funny, and I was just like, "Am I?"
I feel like a lot of guys fall asleep.
Am I dead inside? Because I was literally there, like.
I feel like a lot of guys be falling asleep in movies too. I'm gonna say it.
Oh yeah.
Almost
Have you done it?
Have I? Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a big movie person.
What is that about?
Not even. I mean, I did it. I guess on a date once too, but we were both kind of tired. But I think that sounds weird. It was just a long day. It was like a late showing. One time I went to go see with a friend. I won't say an ex because she's not. It was more of it was an ex situationship, and like it was terrible because she was one of those situationships that like I respect a lot because she just never like the door was never back open. Like I feel like you always think you can spin the block. I was never able to spin the block. I was never able like you. I like to like I. It's almost like a challenge as a guy. Like yo, like I will always kind of have access to you in that form,
Dang.
and we just never.
Question: what makes a situationship not grow to be a relationship?
I think just one or both people don't want it to be one.
Was it you or you the one?
Yeah. I was, but I think I felt we went to go. We ate like something heavy. Like we ate like a breakfast, and we went to go see like Sorry to Bother You, and I think no, actually this is we. I watched it alone. Actually, this is what happened. Me and her went to get breakfast, and I think I ate something like heavy, like pancakes, and like milk. And I went to Sorry to Bother You. I watched the first scene and I fell asleep, and I woke up at the very end of it. And I was like, what is happening? Like the movie, even if you're awake for that movie, it's like a crazy sort of surrealistic movie. And I was just like, wait, like what is going on? So yeah, not a. I like drinks because dinner. I mean, if you're like dating in size, like if you're dating just like if you're volume dating, dinner's kind of, dinner's just like I'm not trying to drop a couple hundred, to whatever.
I want the dinner.
Yeah, or like look, I mean, I think that it's funny. I remember like 10 years ago or so, like coffees were really popular in New York. It's just like if you're volume dating, if you're like mass dating,
coffee. I feel like you're trying to pick my brain about something.
it feels like a business meeting.
I'm waiting for you to be like, hey, I asked you here so I could pick your brain about your juice bar. I'm thinking about starting one. I'd be like,
okay.
That makes
Yeah.
Well,
if
yeah,
you
coffee.
do anything like that, I'm like, oh wow, we ran out of time. He didn't get to it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
there's
got a
some.
coffee machine in my house. I couldn't make coffee at home.
Are you a blanket no on coffee? Because there's some girls who are like, yeah, I won't go on a coffee date. Like, I'm just not doing that.
Said it's in my head. You just invited me here to speak about business and friendship. So
Right.
I just am like, okay, cool. Like, I love coffee though. I love a coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more like I think dinner is just. I think it depends on how much. If you're going on a lot of first dates, if you're going on a lot of dates, period, dinner kind of gets, especially in New York, LA. Like you're going out, you're probably valeting. I mean, dinner's you're each getting a couple of drinks. So
Dinner feels intentional. Dinner feels I took the time. I wanted to get to know you, and that's the energy I like. If it feels like I just wanted to squeeze in drinks tonight,
yeah,
coffee.
Also, girls love a reservation. They love it if you've you've made a reservation.
You plan to be, or you put some thought into it. I'm vegan. You thought about my dietary restrictions.
I'm not getting dressed up for coffee at 1:30 p.m. I'm like,
I'm on your day.
Well, you know what's funny? I feel like I didn't start dating until I want to say like a year ago ish, because I think that I was in ages 0 to 14 or really 16 or so. I was very nerdy. I was African. People love Africans now. I'm sure in your set you probably play Burna Boy last. I'm sure Afrobeats is killing it. I remember Jay, of that legendary apartment posted recently like, oh, like I love Afrobeats, like invite me. I'm like, so I was in Houston, a lot of Africans here. We were called African booty scratchers. Like we were dark. Oh, people.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, they would be like, oh, African booty scratchers. Like people loved, Black American men who were like kind of had a little edge to them. Good at sports. I wasn't good at sports. I don't know if I was even funny at that point. I don't know if I'm funny now. And I was just awkward and just not. I wore glasses. Like I just wasn't. Not that I'm cute now, but I just was like I was awkward. And then in high school, let's say like 16, 18, it was all boys' school in the middle of nowhere in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't, even if I had a glow up, like the girls, it's like that Drake song. It's like all the old girls got somebody new. Like you go back home for a week or for the summer, like
they're taken.
Yeah, they're like you're gone. So and like Harvard was, you didn't really have to date because girls at BC and BU and Wellesley just kind of want, especially Wellesley, just want Harvard dudes, right? Like, and I get it. Like you're probably someone who's like on a decent life trajectory, and so like I don't know if you watch The Social Network, but they had this, there's this real thing where girls from Wellesley will get on a bus. They used to call it the quote unquote fuck truck on campus.
God.
Yeah, they would get on a bus and drive, whatever. Yeah, no, it's very, very lewd. They would get on a bus to go drive whatever, like 40 minutes or however far, Wellesley is from Harvard to like go into Harvard parties. And I don't know if like I know Princeton has eating clubs. Like Princeton has eating clubs, Harvard has these things called final clubs. Okay, Wells to the Harbor's only 30 minutes, but it was a bus, so it was like a little longer. And also, this is like right now. This is not like an evening, like a party evening. But like Harvard had these things called final clubs, and so like being a member of final club, like you have mixed. It was just you're not really like you're the prize. And then like New York, I was always working.
Like
right?
that mentality kind of hurt you when it came to dating because you felt
I just never had to work. I never had to work that muscle of like like plan something and do like because like again like New York I didn't really date because I was working all the time. I was working in investment banking and LA
So now what do you do?
Well, okay, so LA I didn't really have to quote unquote date because I was I was I was I was living a certain lifestyle. Like I was 23, I bought this freaking G Wagon. I was hanging out with all these celebrities all the time. Like girls just wanted to be a part of that. And so I feel like now I'm not in that lifestyle anymore. So now I'll do like a dinner, I'll do drinks. But that's my first time really over the past year plus, like actually, dating, like going like, okay, hey, I made a reservation. Made a lot of reservations. Made a reservation at this place. Like, well, it's at 8:00. We'll grab, like, yeah. So it's very
like
new.
The reception is different.
I think it's like, it's different. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I think it's like, oh, okay, like this is what people meant by this thing. It's like, oh, like this is what dating is. Because like, I mean, prior then, like I was just sort of, I might meet somebody out, and things were just kind of very quick. This sounds terrible, but it was like I wasn't. There wasn't really like, oh, like hey, like I was basically like I was the come over and chill guy. I was like, okay, like come over, we'll watch, we'll watch Netflix on my giant TV, and then like ideally
that was like the first time hanging out. You'd be like coming out.
That's like 1.5 time maybe. So like maybe we met somewhere. I mean, okay, I might in those days have done like a dinner. I think I'll do like a dinner and then maybe like come over and chill. I mean, okay, I was just very low effort, like very, very low effort. So now like I'm sort of okay, like I'm also just too old where it's like you can't be like doing come over and chill like at some point. It's just kind of like like but I do. I mean, I think I increasingly like my post that it's funny that you brought that up because I do think like I'm half joking, but I think that like, I remember one time Russell Simmons was dating a friend of mine, and like I got to know him a little bit because like even if you're Russell Simmons, you want to be cool with like the girl you're dating's roommate or like friend or whatever. And so I remember one night I saw him at Soho House in LA, and like he was at a table with a bunch of Instagram models, and this is around the time that like Instagram models were making all those like Instagram skits when Instagram introduced video.
Yeah,
and I remember looking at him and be like, oh, this is kind of pathetic. Like you're like 58, like you're still kind of chasing it. Like you're like, do you really like? Shouldn't you be like home? And then I remember thinking like, wait, why should I feel pity for him because he's worth like $500 million and like 22-year-olds want to sleep with him? Like he's probably thrilled. Like that's probably amazing. Like if like most guys would probably be like, oh, like hey, if I'm gonna be 58 and worth $500 million and girls want to sleep with me, like that's great. But the more I get a little bit older, I'm like, like you just don't really. I just think it's like kind of lame to be that guy who's still in the club or just outside. Like outside is kind of dry. Like I think outside is just like it's just not lit.
Outside can be dry. Outside could be very lit. I think sometimes outside the relationships aren't as intimate. But if you're not looking for that, you'll have a great time. You have the best.
Yeah, that's true.
It depends on what you're looking for.
And some people feel closer to people. They're like, I feel like a lot of times people are like, I had this night out with this person. We went from this spot to this spot to this spot to this spot. Like we were doing this and this and this, and now we're best friends. Like some people like literally
for sure.
going out is their love language. I'm like,
but I work out. Like sometimes my work is outside, so I don't think I have the same relationship to it when it comes to like, oh cool, but like I don't think I'm gonna have the same like, oh my god, night out. It's like I've been out.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I've been out.
Yeah, I think I might also just be romanticizing relationships because they look really good on Instagram, right? Like you don't get to see the inside, you just get to see like that. And I also think I'm romanticizing because like my college relationship was a little bit kind of like toxic, like a lot of college relationships. But like my pandemic one was very like we basically just like lived together, played house, like just cooked, like everything was closed, right? So it was just very like pleasant. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is very pleasant. Like, well, I was just going, I was doing a lot of different things. But I think,
are you romantic in general? Like, are you a romantic person?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of gestures. I like a big gesture.
What's a gesture? Like a financial gesture, like a buy
Oh
something, or like
no, okay.
Flowers.
I like that like you mentioned something in passing like 2 weeks ago, and I got it for you.
really nice.
And like you just and like it's like, oh, you remember that.
That's
You're
really
listening. That's
yes.
really nice.
Yeah, I like that. Or even just like maybe flowers, just randomly. Yeah, if you're listening, just my DMs are. I don't know. One of my big fears is that like I'll record with people and they'll be talking about their boyfriend or girlfriend, but I'm like, this might not come out for like 3 months. Like.
Oh wow!
I hope
it won't be current anymore.
Well, yeah, I worry about that because I've been kind of recording a lot. This episode's gonna be jump to the front of the line. But
you think
yeah, for sure. But I think that I worry that like I had somebody who was talking about how much he loves his girlfriend. They dated in college. They dated in college. They broke up. They got back together. And he just effusively just. I'm like, and my friend who was on Love Island, obviously like she was on Love Island, and now they're still together after Love Island, and like people. There's a perception that a lot of those dating shows, the people who stay together, it's like a contract or it's like fake. And she says that no, they basically started dating all over after the show, after they won the show, and like they have a YouTube channel. And she's talking about them. I'm like, oh crap, I have to put this episode out pretty soon. Justin,
yeah.
What?
I've seen that season of One.
Oh yeah. Oh Zeta and Timmy.
I watched that. They seemed cute. It seemed cute from what I saw.
But
like, do I have to go on one of these shows to find that? I'm like,
no, I think you can find that at like I mean, not to say that what they have isn't special, but you can find love at like. But I would say Target, but New York doesn't really have Targets.
But it's the setting. It's you don't have your phone. You have a block of like 3 weeks where all you do, your whole job is to find love. That's the whole premise.
Okay, I have to be honest. I say that like I do research. I watched. There's a YouTube video that you guys had done that had like 3 million. There's like. It talked about your 5th grade and getting turntables and the Bronx. But so I do my research. But for her, like I had never watched Love Island. I watched some clips, and I remember like I know nothing about the show. I knew nothing about the show, but I actually mispronounced her name. I said Zeta instead of Zeta because I've known her before and I thought it was Zeta. But yeah, I didn't. I do research in general though. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to go there to find love. I think you can like New York is a very amazing place to find love. Like I feel like LA women find love in New York a lot, like because they get appreciated more there. I think Black women get like LA is tough because like everyone's so beauty. So many people are good looking for a living. Like your waitress will be beautiful. The person doing your DoorDash will be like beautiful. Like everyone's just really like. Not to say that people in New York are like not cute, but like.
And you feel like it makes it hard to focus on one person.
I just think that like. I don't know. I know that like New York has its own colorism and its own kind of issue. I'm sure like you go to a club in New York, there is discrimination. But I think that Black women get appreciated more in New York than LA. And I think Black women will tell you that. Like, I think I had a friend or acquaintance, friend of a friend who literally moved back to New York from LA in part, maybe not in whole, but like significantly because she felt just like no one was checking for her in New York. Like I'm sorry, in LA. Like she just felt like, yo, I'm like, no one's checking for me out here.
I don't
know. I just can't I'm
enough time in LA to really understand that dynamic.
If it would work for me in that way.
I think that LA like values like the Kardashian face and like the BBL body a little bit. And also like just white. Like, I don't know. I think it's a very like model Instagram. And maybe also look, I'm not speaking very broadly. Like I'm also just obviously like in spaces where that is valued, like being in entertainment. I think that New York just has like a very thriving. You have Harlem, you have Queens, you have the Bronx, you have like all the kind of like Black finance. Also, it's funny. I was talking to a friend. Oh, actually, I did my first matchmaking recently.
In New York?
Oh yeah, I was with a friend in New York because I just mentioned I was in New York, and she was talking about how like she's from LA, and I guess this invalidates my thesis, but she's saying that like she's having a hard time dating. Oh no, it actually doesn't invalidate my thesis. She said she was having a hard time dating. I was like, oh, like, what do you mean? Like, and but she was the one doing the rejecting. So I'm like, that doesn't really. I was like, that's not what. That's not what people mean when they say that they're having a hard time dating. Like, usually they mean that they're getting done dirty. Like, you're cutting people off. Like, you're the one ghosting people. Yeah, like I was like, yeah, I'm like, you're actually thriving. Like, but like you're doing very well out here. But one thing that she also said about New York versus LA, which I think is also another factor, is that people actually have jobs in New York, right? Like LA, everyone's kind of. Not everyone, like obviously I'm certain spaces, but so many people are like, pursuing entertainment, and like if you want to be an actor, model, whatever, you need flexibility. So like every waitress, every Uber driver, people are kind of like doing these weird liminal jobs. Whereas like you can't really do that. Like New York is so expensive that you can't like really do that. Like LA is expensive too, but you can kind of do LA on the cheap where like you'll be like 5 deep. I mean, I've heard these stories of like people being like 4 deep in like a 1-bedroom, right? And just, I mean, I haven't seen it firsthand, but I've definitely heard stories from people like women who said, "Oh yeah, like I think
being in the hustle with a lot of people can sometimes be fun.
Be fun, yeah.
Like those are the days you look back and you're like, I wouldn't do it again. But
actually, you know what? I think Zeta was the one who told me. I mean, I'd heard about it before, but I think Zeta was the one who was like, "Oh yeah, she did that where she was like 5 deep in like a 1-bedroom somewhere." And like people, like you can kind of do LA on the cheap. So I think people just kind of will do LA and just not have jobs. Whereas like guys in New York, just everyone tended to have gone to like a decent school, or like everyone's kind of doing something. So I think that LA, I don't know, I think New York, I think you'll find love out there. I think you'll find love in New York if you're looking for it. It's also very beautiful, like the aesthetic.
Around the holidays.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't been there.
I hadn't been there in 5 years. I just had like, I'm never in a rush to go back to New York because I had pretty negative time there, like working on Wall Street, working these 100-hour weeks, just like other just personal things. And I went back and I was like, oh wow, this place is like amazing. It's beautiful. Like, why did I not come for so long? Like, it's so like, especially, yeah, it was great. I got to see friends, like just being being there in December, and it's just it was very, very beautiful. So I think love is in the air in New York, certainly.
So is that why you're not coming back because you don't actually want to find
That's why, yeah.
So I'm just gonna. So I'm gonna head out.
No, I think my wife or girlfriend's probably in LA. I don't know. She might be in Houston. Who knows? Houston? I do think. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like I think you're right in the sense that like the things that I post, I'm like, oh, like longing for a relationship. It's like half. It's like it's real, but it's like because right. Like if a person really wanted a relationship, there are ways to get in one. Like it's not so difficult.
You're talking to though, seeing this and being like, so
what about me?
Like, what's he waiting for? Like,
right.
Wow, you know what?
Is he joking? Like,
I think people just know that all my posts are joke. I'm like, oh, I'm a TV writer. Like I write for TV. Like I write, like this is like work basically. This is a tax write off. Like
I'm taking material.
I do. I love. I'm getting material. But I don't know. I think that the thing that I am serious about is that like there's an age that you hit where those things aren't cool. They're not even just not cool anymore. They're uncool. Right, like if you see it, like it's like the guy who graduated high school and still comes back for the parties. Like I think you hit an age where it's like, if I see a dude who's posting them with like 2 girls or something, I'm like, what, like, bro, like you're 36, like where's your, like where you like what the?
Like, why those your siblings? Like
if it's friends, then it's cool.
Yeah, but it's like also like why are you trying? Like what are you trying to prove? It's like I went through a phase when I was like when I first moved to LA, I was always posting pictures with celebrities. I was also always posting pictures with like beautiful, like really hot girls, and also like I was probably insecure and I wanted to prove like, oh, like look at me, I'm cool, right? So like at a certain age, it just looks like, like what are you doing?
Thing. When you let go of that and you're like, how are people gonna feel? Ooh, they're gonna love this. Like that's never the stuff that people like. Like
yeah, you're doing. It also just feels like if you're always posting a certain thing, it's like you're trying to prove something. Right, like if I'm like, it's why I said I was like, why do I take a picture with Drake every time I'm with Drake? Like I'm trying to prove that I'm cool with Drake, or I'm prove that I hang out with OVO. It's like why does anyone need to know that? Like why do I need to get validation from that? Right? We're getting way too personal now.
Are we? We're in the weeds. I like it.
No, we're
the podcast started.
No, this is about you. This is about you guys, not me. Okay, so you guys have a juice. I was supposed to go when I'll go next time in New York, which is going to be soon. But you guys, like, how did that come about? I know a little bit, but like, tell the audience, like, how did you? I mean, business can be daunting, and like, how did you kind of be like, okay, we're entrepreneurs now? I mean, you're always entrepreneurs if you're creative because you're a DJ. It's like an LLC basically, but beyond that,
I mean, yeah, we did do business for like DJing and other like stuff we were doing in entertainment, but the juice bar was really different. It wasn't a plan. Going into the pandemic, everything got canceled. Literally, like one by one, everything I had lined up like for the next year, like got canceled. Because at first I was like, it'll be a week. I was like, to be honest with you, I'm tired. Like I would love a week off. I was like, like, obviously this sucks, but I was feeling burnt out anyway, so I was like, fine. Then all of a sudden they were like, people started canceling things. I started realizing like people were really sick. Like it wasn't like,
oh my, yeah, okay, yeah. That was like, when did the pandemic hit you for real? Because I remember, like, for me, it was when they canceled. It was when they canceled the NBA season. When they stopped playing NBA games, I was like, wait, what? Like, wait, like what?
Like
Oh,
everything.
it's like a real thing.
When they started canceling festivals, I was like, you don't just cancel a festival. Like people don't take that lightly. Like that's years of planning. So I was
years.
like,
I think I took a week to be like, I don't know what's going on. This confuses me, and I was actually excited about some of the stuff I was doing. But then I think after that next week, I was like, you know what? I have no control over things I don't have control over. And like, I still need to create a world where like I find some control in it, or like things I like to do still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I know a few artists, and I think I always forget, like, oh, like touring is such a big part of your income, especially if you're a recording artist, because
it can be.
the label doesn't really get a piece of that in the way they get a piece of your other stuff.
Grind though. Like it's really hard on your body. It's artists that tour like months at a time. I'm like,
Crazy.
hats off to you, because it's like,
oh yeah, it's like being an athlete.
rugged.
Yeah, it's like being an athlete.
Like when you're on the come up. But I mean, so the juice bar, literally we would be juicing in the house because we were at home so much more all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
That was something we always liked. You know, we're Jamaican. Like I feel like I really did grow up on like fruits, like fresh fruits, vegetables, like fruit juices, things like that, like Caribbean kind of flavors. So we all of a sudden we're just like so extra. I told you about like that tunnel vision that sometimes like we'll get, but like
yeah,
it kind of we opened this juice bar from conception to like actually it opening in like a little over 3 months. Like
wow, that's incredible. Also, it's also incredible because the pandemic was the time the businesses were shutting down, and you guys opened a business. That's pretty crazy.
Well, you know, commercial rent, the prices went down.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, that's very. See, you guys, that's that Dartmouth brain. That's that. You know, I know you guys didn't take business. You know, you guys weren't business or econ majors, but that's that Dartmouth brain right there. Just like,
but New York is about business hustle.
It is. That's amazing, and it's been around now. I guess for like what, 2 years now.
Yeah. It's been a little over 2 years now.
It's been a little over 2 years.
What's it like? Like, because obviously you're a boss now. I mean, you're bosses already, but you know you're someone's boss. Like you have to make decisions. Like, you know, I gotta fire this person, or like you have to make real decisions. Like, what's that like?
Being everyone's like, you're such a boss. Like it's so great. Like everyone's glorifying the boss, but having to make those decisions and actually just having all of it on your shoulders. Actually, just coming to terms with that was the part. Like I'm like, wow. Like if I don't make these calls, like literally no one's gonna make it.
If
like,
something goes wrong, it is me. It doesn't matter who actually did it. It's on me. All of it. Like whatever the case.
But also it's been cool just to like, you know, for DJing we have a certain group of people that we interact with. To actually just have a completely, people are like, oh my god, I know you from Mad Juicy. I'm like, oh my god,
it felt refreshing.
Like it's cool.
Just well, how much time do you spend there?
Like people are like, I think I got a juice at your juice bar. It's like,
do you guys spend a lot of time at the juice bar? That'd be a fun show. Like just the juice bar.
Up at the juice bar. Sometimes I'll just sit outside. Like I just won't even like act like I know what's going on. I'll just be enjoying a juice so that people can see me genuinely enjoying my juice. And maybe be like, she looks like she's having a great time at this juice bar. Maybe I'll get a juice.
In the first year, we were there like every day.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Working. I was like checking people out, making juices. Like,
oh wow,
getting it started. We'd be DJing there, just like getting it started.
That's lit. Okay. Yeah, speaking of like, what's in your road? So I got my what's like your Apple replay like? Mine's very eclectic. Mine's like, this is the first year that Drake was not number one in a while. It was Lil Durk, and I thought that was gonna be last year because I got really into Lil. I got really into Lil Durk in like 2020 out of nowhere. Like I'd never really listened to him outside of like his first, you know, like this ain't what you want, like L's Anthem, and then I got really into him and just have been super into Durk.
Who were the top two?
It was Durk and Drake.
Okay. I didn't do mine.
Oh, you have
to say I never did mine.
Mine is very weird because I have like I either listen to like rap or like sad white girl music. I'll listen to like Lana Del Rey.
You know what's so crazy? When you said that yours was like eclectic, I immediately was like Lana Del Rey's on there.
Oh yeah, I think I post her a little bit. I think I post her sometimes.
I don't think it's from the post. I think I just kind of felt it.
Wow, you think I'm like a very melancholic person? Like I'm just like
probably be on your sad boy shit.
I be on my moody shit. Like
you probably be on your sad boy
when
shit
I'm listening
sometimes.
at home, I'm trying to listen to moody music. Like that's what I'm on.
So all my top songs are Dirk, but then as far as like my artists, so number 1 was Dirk, number 2 was Drake. Okay, oh wow, it goes Lil Durk, Drake, Paul Simon, very random I know.
Oh,
ESTG, Lana Del Rey, 42 Doug, Future, then the Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, and Heady One. Heady One, the UK drill artist. I have a very like super, yeah.
That's
who's like who's your personal, and then what's like popping right? I mean, well, this will be a little stale, but like what's popping? Like what's your okay? I used to DJ. I won't call it DJing. Obviously, I was aux core DJing a little bit in college.
That's okay,
an important role.
Yeah, you know, a little something. You know, the Final Club. And what's the song that you're like, okay, crap, this party's dying. Like, or like I was gonna save this for like later, but this I gotta turn this party out. Like, is it like Burna Boy last? Like, what is it?
Past couple years, there's always that like song of the summer that you drop it like people are gonna go crazy. Like to
okay, what's it been? I would okay. I'm not. I don't go outside like that. Is it? Would it be
summer before it was Essence?
What about Munch? Was Munch pretty popping this summer? I feel like that was like
it was, but I have called it the song of the summer.
It's weird. People come out with like verbiage. I feel like I don't know if someone like literally is like now float this in the air like
it's
song
like
of
published,
the summer. Like,
right? But I feel like I wouldn't call that the song of the summer.
Okay,
though it was popular.
It was popular.
Yeah, it was definitely popular.
Shout out the
Bronx.
Oh yeah, that's you guys. Well, okay, what's it like? Because not to get dark, but like the Bronx has been like the Bronx drill stuff. Like there's been after the pandemic, people have been. I'm sure it wasn't like that when you guys were. I don't know. Maybe it was like that when you guys were growing up. But what's that like? Seeing the music but also like the violence. Like, because you guys aren't in the Bronx anymore, but I guess you probably still feel close to them.
Like a lot of my family still lives in the Bronx, and we're there like a good amount. But
is it as bad as the news says it is, or is it like exaggerated?
Certain areas have its rough parts, but the thing is, in my experience, it doesn't feel like if you're maneuvering and you're not doing anything you're not supposed to be doing, it feels like you'll be okay to me.
Okay.
I feel like
okay.
It doesn't feel like senseless
when you start like
to me
kind of mixing in with certain things, like then like
yeah, I agree with that too. Like I try to stay away from certain elements, especially when I'm in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I'm also the type of person that knows when to go home. Like I like to think that like if I have any type of intuition of like something's off, like even if I can't explain it, I'm out.
Yeah, and also there's people sometimes like I remember I was reading something about like an NBA, I think it was World Wide West, like this kind of legendary NBA kind of behind the scenes figure or like basketball figure. And I think it was like a time when he was at a recruitment thing and people was trying to find the next move. He's like, yo, just go home. Like don't like try to find the next move will sometimes end in.
Sometimes there's no next move. Like
like you should never be chasing the fun.
Home before things get spooky outside, like,
and that's okay.
Yeah, like sometimes if you catch yourself chasing the fun or like chasing that next move, it's like okay, you know, it's time to go home. Like I'm not like there's nothing to kind of keep chasing. I'm trying to think of wrapping it up. Let's think. All right, so you guys, Matt. Okay, what's next? Like what's next? I mean, oh wait, we didn't talk about this. You guys have actually made your own like music, right? Like not just what's how's that going? Like what's the like what do you? Because I feel like you guys did it, and then like I feel like you guys took a little hiatus during the pandemic, but like what's the music status?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be putting some more stuff out soon. I feel like, just like with DJing, I feel like it was a process, and I feel like I'm still like in the making music process. I'm still kind of coming into it, and like how it plays into like what I'm already doing. But I'm excited about it. I feel like it's something new. And the thing that makes it fun, like all that we do fun, is keeping new things in the rotation, like continuing to like challenge myself, like be able to like push creativity. I feel like that's what keeps it fun. So I'm excited.
I feel like some people shy away from the feeling of like starting at zero, of like
Oh, that's me.
I don't.
That's me 1,000%. I think that like a curse almost. I don't want to call it a curse because it's a blessing. Even like saying back when we were like saying, oh, it's hard to not find a job that isn't finance or consulting. Like there are kids who probably listening who are like at a school, like, yo, I would kill for Morgan Stanley to come to my campus. I would kill for government to come to my campus. So it's not like a first worldish problem, but I feel like I've always had success like so fast sometimes. Like even like Blackish, like once like I stopped at Goldman like maybe like my last day at Goldman I've been like June 1st, and my first day at Blackish was like June 15th. You know,
and
like it was
left because you got that opportunity.
Yeah, I left because I got the opportunity. It was like it had been in the works for a little bit, but like they finally were like, okay, it's the paperwork. So I don't believe nothing, especially in entertainment, until the paperwork is all signed. And
You're absolutely right. Did they think you were funny at Goldman?
Wow, no one's ever asked me that. I think I definitely joked. I definitely joked at Goldman. I don't know if I was joking at a professional level, but I was. I think me and all my roommates were like, so I think there's this almost submarine effect, or almost like this gallows humor. It's like we're here all the time. We're working these crazy hours, and like look, the whole banker hours. It's not like you're working 100 hours straight or something, or 100 hours. It's more like you're kind of on call all the time, so you're expected to be available constantly. Mm-hmm. And you don't really have your weekends like that. So there's almost like a sense of like, I mean, it's not the same as like working a terrible job but it's almost like that same sort of you all bond over how much you hate the job or how annoying the job is or how all encompassing the job is. So
yeah, it is trauma bonding.
Yeah, we would. Yeah. I knew there was a term for it. We would trauma bond a little bit. I was pretty. That's a good question. Was I funny? Goldman's not an easy place. It's not. It is and isn't an easy place to be funny. Like it isn't because people take Goldman Sachs so seriously, but then it's easy because people take Goldman Sachs so seriously. You can kind of, there's humor.
I have another question. When did you know you were funny, or like when did you first have the inkling, like, oh, I'm funny, I could do this?
Oh my goodness, this is very funny. I remember. I think that this is great. This is like a dual podcast. I think that so when you go into meetings in Hollywood, I don't know why they call them meetings because they're actually interviews. But they call them meetings, I guess, to make it seem more informal. Like, let's say, like, I'll have my whatever I've written, like something my sample that my agent sent to whoever, some show, BoJack Horseman. I met with BoJack Horseman. They didn't hire me, which is like the one time not the one time, but a show that I was actually really, really liked, and they didn't, But like when you get to the meeting, at that point, like, because a TV show is like a submarine effect where like you're all kind of in a room together, sitting around a table. So like if one person farts, it stinks up the whole room. So if one person has a terrible personality, it kind of can, the host, like one writer who everyone hates can kind of like make a show miserable. And so they have you have a meeting, and they kind of make sure you're cool because they already like you on the page. They like your writing. So now it's just like, okay, don't screw it up. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know why BoJack Horseman. Why didn't you guys hire me? Anyway, so I think that like in these meetings they'll ask you, like, when they'll kind of ask you, like, not that like when did you first find out you were funny, but they'll ask you sort of like how you got into what's your story basically. How did you get into TV writing? That's kind of a random thing. I used to like trace it back to college, I guess, like writing for the Lampoon. But I was like, wait a second, like I used to always watch like The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. Like I watched a lot of Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Further than that, I watched cartoons, but I'm like, well, everyone watched cartoons. That doesn't really count. It's like when actors say, I've always been performing. It's like, yeah, but everyone's grandma was like, oh, do your little dance in front of the family. Like, that doesn't like you're not special. Like actors always do that. Yeah, actors are always like, I've always been performing. It's like, well, yeah, like everyone when they were like 3 years old, their mom was like, oh, like do your little dance in front of the family. I was like, well, I watch cartoons, but I watched like Colbert, Conan O'Brien, Late Show stuff. But I think when I first started out funny, I joined the Lampoon like my freshman year. Like the Lampoon's like a weird culture because like everyone's kind of just always joking and nothing's really off limits. Like they can make fun of like you could tell someone you haven't eaten. You could tell someone you have an eating disorder. They'll just make fun of it like immediately. Like there's just no sort of.
That's
wild. There's just like.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no.
Matter would be like a joke.
Yeah, there's just no, like, I think that, like, when 9/11, like, so there's this, the Lampoon has some secret stuff, but I think, like, the day of 9/11, like, someone in the Lampoon made a joke about 9/11. Like, there's just no, but people are pretty funny. Yeah, but people are very funny. And I remember feeling like, whoa, like, I'm not as funny as these people. Like, I'm just not, like, they're just so quick. Like, there's just times where we're just joking. Like, you're always just constantly joking. And I was like, but there's a senior, he'd been elected the president of Lampoon. was like a big honor. Like Conan O'Brien was president. Like Colin Jost, I think. Yeah, Jost was president. Colin Jost, like he's big SNL guy. He has a show. Like the history of the Lampoon presidents is like some pretty impressive people. And he had been elected president, but then he had like a situation where he had like problems with substance abuse, and so he ended up taking a lot of time off, and he wasn't. But he came back around. I remember like one time we were going through kind of the initiating new members. So at the time we were spending a lot of time at the Lampoon building. He's like, you're getting funnier, and that meant like the world to me. Like, oh, like he said that super casual. Like, yeah, you're getting funnier, and I was like.
Did you feel like, I actually am? Like,
I think I felt that I was. Like, we're always trying to make it's funny that like it makes sense why so many Lampoon people become TV writers, because like it's the same type of thing as like a TV writer's room where like, you're all like that's why we're trying to think of a joke for Bart Simpson. We're trying to think of a joke for Anthony Anderson's character. Like we're all kind of coming up like, hey, like what if he said like we're coming up with things, and so we're all trying to make each other laugh. Mm-hmm. And so like because it's like, okay, if we can make each other laugh, we can make millions of people who watch the show laugh.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing on the Lampoon. We're always trying to make each other laugh. And so that was the moment I was like, okay, I'm getting funnier, because I felt like I was getting funnier. But then he said it, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting more funny. But even, I mean, there are times like I've been in writers' rooms, like there's in each, like in Blackish and The Simpsons, there was one guy in each of those rooms where I was like, I'll say two, because I have to say Kenya was also very funny, obviously. But like at Blackish, there's one dude named Vijay Patel who was like hilarious. He was like, how did you think of that quickly? And then The Simpsons, there's one dude like Joel Cohen who was like also just like, he was also he had dark humor, and I was like, well, like this is just like so like there are times I'm like, oh, like I'm not as funny as that person. Like that person's really funny. But yeah, that's my long-winded way. I guess like sophomore. It might have been junior year, because I took like a year or two off. But he's doing very well now. He's like, not that marriage is a marker of success, even though to me it is now. But he's like I think he's engaged or married or whatever. He turned around.
Congrats.
But yeah. But he was like, oh, you're getting funnier. Well, when did you first realize that you were good at making, like, you had a talent for music?
Well, I didn't really, to be honest with you, I wasn't really, when we graduated college, I really did not, I'd never DJed before. So that was foreign. If you told me a couple years ago that would be a big part of what I do, I would be like, how? Literally. Right. So my friend actually, who was going to Harvard, taught me from Prep for Prep, shout out Prep again.
Who? I probably know her.
Actually, another prep person put me onto DJing, but didn't teach me. Was like, literally like, you would probably have fun doing this. I got equipment the next week after he said that. Ran into my other friend who was in prep. He taught us. He would like hang out with us. We would just DJ for fun every single day for like a year. Trooper. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. And then after that, we cold called a bar, got our first gig, and kept DJing. That's it.
Wow. Shout out to that bar. Also,
shout out to the bar.
How you guys have the same, you guys share an Instagram. How does that work with like DMing guys? Or like guys sliding into your DMs? Like they slide into, like, are they sliding into both of your DMs at once? Like, how does that work?
Thing is, I've noticed I have a separate page. She has a separate page.
Is it secret? Because I don't know about the second. Okay, follow me from the separate page. I'm gonna follow the separate page because I've never seen the separate page.
I mean, it's low, it's still a drive, but like I have my page, and I notice like people who are really serious, because I feel like it's not that easy to find. The ones that add me on there, I'm like, oh, that's how I know someone's looking for me, like specifically.
Right.
And yeah, I'm in our account, whatever. I'm like, how do I know who they're talking to? Or I assume who they're talking to based on what they respond to. If it's a video of her, I'm like, they're talking to
right. Right.
But
okay, well, where can people, I have to wait for her to come back, but where can people find you?
At Angel and Dren, at Double Trouble Leak. I gotta change it.
Oh, you're putting it out there. Okay, wow, I can't wait.
I gotta change it. But SoundCloud, the streets, the just life. You can find
okay, wait, by the way, Dren, she just dropped the exclusive I was asking her, like, how do people slide in your DMs if like y'all have a shared page? Like, you guys talk about you don't dress alike, but you have the same page. But she just dropped the bombshell news. You guys have individual pages that are low. I guess they're not low anymore, but
I don't really post on mine much, but sometimes
okay. Well, can you tell people what it is?
it's Double Trouble Dren.
Okay, wow. Not even I knew this. So shout out. This is. I mean, by the time y'all might have changed it by the time, but thank you so much.
Deactivated tonight.
Gone.
The DMs are gonna be popping now. Well, now people can DM because you guys were so up in arms about the whole like dressing the same, but it's like y'all have the same Instagram. That's more alike than dressing the same. But I feel you.
No, but I like interactions in real life. Like
I feel that. Well, okay, for any lover boys out there like myself, how would someone approach you? And we can end on that. How would someone approach you? Well, two things. Any like twins out there who want to get into DJing, what would be the first thing you would tell them to do? And the second thing, any lover boys, what would be the first, like how to approach someone of your caliber?
Well, even if you're not a twin and you want to DJ, I would say learn, get good music, like
focus on the craft,
like understand actually DJing, practice,
treat it like your job.
And then go out, have fun, meet people. I feel like it's such an organic thing. Like once you start, and if you have the right energy, and if you actually like music and like sharing that with people in spaces, like you're gonna do great. Like so.
And then how does one approach a Double Trouble Dren leak?
Energy. I like an intentional energy. I like to feel like you wanted to talk to me. There's a reason. Like it's not just random. Like I was bored. Like no, I want to hang out with you.
Right. What about you, Angel?
I think like with anyone just approaching me, like even on friendship, I think just be yourself. Be like,
yep.
Honestly, my dream is for a friendship to transition because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm so much. This sounds terrible. I feel like me and my friends who are women, I feel like I treat them
better,
and I feel terrible about that. But I think that I think I just having that entering from friendship, you always see them as a friend. Like you always see them as like this is someone I care about, absent any sort of romantic thing. I just care about this person as an individual. And I think of things that I've done, whether stupid things in relationships or after or in breakups, where it's like I would have never done that to like a friend, but but because maybe you feel a certain level of resentment. I mean, friends also can't hurt you in the same way that like a relationship person can. But I think that's interesting. Well, we have where to find you guys. Thank you for joining. You guys have been amazing. Also, I have to say when I don't like leave the browser open for a little bit because it has to like upload everything. That's a very I've had a couple close calls. Yeah, I've had a couple close calls. Yeah, I've had a couple close calls. Someone was like, "All right, bye," and then close the browser. It's like, "Oh, this has to like up like this." It's like I need this a lot of data. But all right, thank you so much. And then I'll let you know about the girls podcast. I am like semi serious about that. I feel like girls. It's been 10 years. We can really look back on it. It was very an era. Because I think they captured something so interesting, which is that it was the first show around the time of like they really showed social media, where like Facebook, like even just like blocking people, right? Like that's such a normal thing now. But now it's like, okay, crap, me and this person broke up. Now I have to see their stupid face. Facebook introduced that stupid header. And it's like, okay, I have to see this gigantic picture of the person who I'm not trying to think about right now. So I think it captured a lot of really dope things. But yeah, man, very, very great to have you all. And I cannot wait to catch you on the next tour. And can't wait to come to Mad Juicy.
I know. I can't wait.
The next time we're going to make it happen.
Coming.
We will.
We're going to work through the menu.
We will.
We're going to try everything.
All right. That was great.